One of the key motivators for the fight for self-rule and independence 58 years ago was the need to free the African worker from the chains of the colonizer. 58 years after achieving self-rule, our very own Brian Mwende looks into the milestone Kenya has made so far, with the question in mind being if the Kenyan worker really got Madaraka. Take a look.
Now, free labor was one of the key reasons for the fight for an internal self-rule 58 years ago. But then, before then, what was really happening in the colonial period?
Common issues that were faced by the African laborer during the pre-colonial period were sexual harassment on ladies, racial segregation, discrimination, forcing Kenyans to work, and in some cases, whipping them, overworking laborers, and not clearly defining their working hours. The justice system being British-controlled also made it hard for those seeking justice. The few and lucky Africans who got labor contracts had them terminated without reasons. This led to the rise of African-led trade unions that highly advocated for free labor and self-rule. However, these trade unions often received backlash from the colonial government.
Now, fast forward to 58 years later, is the Kenyan worker really enjoying the fruits of Madaraka?
When I posed the question on whether the human resource got its self-rule 58 years later, Agnes Gashui, a labor advocate, and Kevin Maina, a human resource practitioner, say it is a case of yes and no.
When you do look at working conditions during the colonial era and now post-colonial era, some problems have persisted, others have not. So for instance, there was a lot of forced labor, a lot of servitude back in the day. Right now, we have seen that it's not so much, and given constitutional provisions on the same that prohibit a person being subjected to both forced labor, to slavery, to servitude, it has significantly reduced.
Independence of human resource can be looked in several ways. Yes or no? Yes, because we have come a long way. There was the master-servant relationship. It was a master-servant contract. So there was a great disparity. But today we have come to realize that there are certain things that were no longer workable. And I'm saying no because I believe there's still more to be done. If you look at, if we had done everything, that means there would be no room for improvement.
Now, one of the most affected people when it comes to infringement of human rights and labor rights are domestic workers.
Joyce Mwikali is a domestic worker, and for the 12 years she has been working for different households, she has faced 3 counts of sexual assault. Mwikali, who relocated to Nairobi from a rural home at the age of 14, all while pregnant, was subjected to poor pay and forced to sleep on couches.
So the first house, kulikuwa na mzee mwenye nyumba ambaye alikuwa anaendanga job, akirudi anaenda anarudi. Then kuna siku moja alikuja akapata naosha vyombo, nilikuwa naosha vyombo kwa sink. Then akakuja akaniambia anataka kunywa maji, but hakuwa anataka kunywa maji cause vile alibehave, alinishika na akanigonganisha against the fridge. So mimi nikakuwa na ile uoga. So unajua pia huyu ni mdosi wako and uko na uoga, we ni mdogo, you're not comfortable na Kenya anafanya. The second house, huyo baba mwenye nyumba alikuwa mlevi. So mimi nilikuwa nalalanga kwa sitting room. So siku moja nikiwa nimelala kwa sitting room, akakuja usiku akiwa mlevi, then akashika blanket yangu akanifunua akitaka kunishika.
Shockingly, according to Mwikali, there are lots of other cases of infringement of domestic workers' rights.
Manguo. Sometimes hata wanakuitianga dogs who have sex now. Out of 10 colleagues wenye mimi wanaongea nao, 6 of them wanna go through abuse.
Irene Nelima, a trainer at the Center for Domestic Training and Development, says discrimination and sexual harassment are not only the vices that domestic workers stomach.
These cases about domestic workers violation of rights, there are very many. Like you said, there is a lot of discrimination. Domestic workers are being discriminated on the basis of ethnicity, religion, and sometimes age, and even body size, something which is very funny.
It is not only the domestic workers facing this discrimination. A number of foreigner employers living in the country have equally been found guilty of even whipping their Kenyan workers. Kevin Maina explains modern ways of employers infringing employees' rights, including wrongful terminations of contracts, most of white-collar jobs.
An employer might give you a contract that is too lengthy, and you have to spend a lot of time reading it and analyzing it, and they tell you give it back in 1 hour.
With more cases of infringement of employees' rights being reported from different job spaces even after self-rule, solutions seem the only way ahead.
Peer relationship between employers and employees matter a lot.
I think it's very important, Brian, for us to treat them right. Let us start by even referring to them in proper ways and proper nouns. For example, I'll say calling them a home assistant or domestic worker. That is a proper name for them. These other ones, Somboch and what have you, it's so demeaning.
And so far as dismissal is concerned, it has to be fair, and one has to be subjected to like a disciplinary tribunal or proceedings before they are terminated. And at the point of termination or dismissal, they should be explained to in a language they understand with a witness present.
We can never realize real development unless we free up the labor force.
With all said and done, the main question for today is, are you, the Kenyan worker, enjoying the fruits of Madaraka 58 years later? Brian Mwenda, Switch TV.